LocalBozo.com is proud to have with us actor Dominic Monaghan, star of the new film The Day, coming out on August 29th through Anchor Bay and WWE Films. Dominic, how's it going, man?
Hey, everything's going good. I'm driving around in crazy balmy weather in Los Angeles. You know, I'm from England, so I'm not used to anything that gets above kind of 85 degrees. So, just trying to hide underneath my AC all day.
Right on, man. Just try to keep those windows closed because it's very smog out there, and who knows what the hell's going on in LA these days.
I love LA. It's a fantastic city. You know, I've been living here for almost 10 years now, and it's a great place. But I have to say, I'm fiercely allergic to the air. You know, I get, really bad sinus problems and hay fever and stuff like that. So that's one of the few bummers about LA. But for the most part, it's a great place to live.
Now, Dominic, I saw your new film, The Day, and it has that fantastic post-apocalyptic feel that I love in movies. What drew you to this project?
I tend to do things based on material, and the material in this script was really strong. It was a great role. You know, they wanted me to play the leader of the gang, and so it was key for me to play someone from North. You know, I'd not really done that to a large degree in my career, and I wanted to attack that and hopefully do a good enough job. So it was all about the script for me and the way that they sold me on the character.
Right on, man. Thank you. The Day is unquestionably a hard R-rated film. So many films these days hold back and get the PG-13 rating, but The Day is definitely hard R, and you can see it on the screen. Can you talk about this a little bit and films like it that influenced you as a child?
Yeah, I mean, I don't strictly, chase after anything in particular apart from good material. So this happened to fall on the side of having a pretty hard rating, and it doesn't pull any punches, and, it's certainly something that comes with a bit of a warning. But that's not necessarily a type of material that I'm an actor or that I run around. It's just, it just happens to be that way because of, the strength of the material. And then in terms of films that I think are influenced by it, or films that I enjoy that are similar to it, I mean, we were certainly influenced by films like The Road. Viggo Mortensen, who's a friend of mine, did just a stellar performance in that, and the world was very bleak, and a lot of these post-apocalyptic films had an influence in that project. There's also elements of kind of, I like, it's not quite as obviously fantastic as The Matrix, but The Matrix is a post-apocalyptic film, and we like the idea that, no one really knows what has happened. No one knows what's occurred. These guys are just on the ground dealing with it, and that's kind of the same in The Matrix to a certain extent. They don't know how it got to this point, but, they're trying to just stay alive throughout it.
Exactly, and I feel the mystery to that is a huge draw for audiences. And keeping with the minimal nature of the film, and it shouldn't be seen as a spoiler to anybody, a lot of the action takes place in one location, one house. And this really reminds me of the classic horror film, Night of the Living Dead. Dominic, can you speak about this connection, if any?
Yeah, there's some Night of the Living Dead stuff for sure. I mean, I think we were paying homage to that in some of those scenes where all you can see is silhouettes of people coming towards this house in a kind of siege mentality. I mean, certainly those films are things that we draw from, and some of the kind of classic Hammer horror films were also kind of homaged in there as well. The low-lying fog and, these kind of characters that come out of nowhere and shock you and scare you. We also had quite a few scary children in there as well, so I thought that there was kind of an influence with The Omen and also stuff like Don't Look Now, which is an old Donald Sutherland, Julie Christie film that I really like. I think the good writers, steal from other good writers, and that's known throughout history. And that's not to say that the script isn't original, but it's certainly influenced by some of the higher quality kind of horror thrillers out there.
Yeah, I totally agree. If you're going to make an homage, it has to pay tribute while elevating the film at the same time. In your career, both on the small screen and on the silver screen, you have played a lot of characters who are in some peril, some danger. On Lost, Lord of the Rings, for example. What input were you able to put from your career into The Day?
I was lucky enough to be one of the producers on this film, so, I was hopefully helpful in terms of working out how this film was going to get shot in a very small amount of time, what actors need in that regard, and how to just move things along as best I can. I mean, yeah, I've been really, really lucky that a lot of the projects that I've been in have dealt with kind of life and death and ordinary people in extraordinary circumstances. So I have, the experience of that, which is great. And I think what's helpful there is just to try and keep it as level-headed as possible. When you find ordinary people in extraordinary circumstances, they don't suddenly put on a cape and are able to fly around. They remain human, and I was quite turned on by the idea that these are just normal people. They're just trying to stay alive. They're just trying to get through life at times where the stakes are high. So I always attempt to make my performances as grounded as possible. It's almost like, what would the audience do in that situation? The audience respond very well to the idea of a hero-type character who's just like them.
Yeah, that's totally right. All of the characters are grounded and seem like they could live in our modern world. But at the same time, moviegoers get that horror movie feel. Of course, gorehounds get a lot of what they want. And you get the action and suspense. And, it really rolls into one movie that many, many people can enjoy. So I thank you for that, sir.
I think one of my favorite things about this film, there's some great things about the fact that we even managed to get it made, because it was, it was a very tough shooting process. But I think my favorite thing about the film, and it's something that you touched upon earlier on, is that it's made very, very clear, very quickly, that this is a film where anything can happen. We will kill people in surprising ways. We will have a hero become a villain. We will have a villain become a hero. Nobody's safe. Nobody's sacred. And I love that about these type of films, because the audience very quickly realize that they can't hang on to anything. They're just going to have to let go.
Now, just to start closing this up, the WWE was one of the backers on the film. Can you talk about their on-set involvement, if any?
We actually made the film as a strict independent with Gold Circle Films, and then we showed it in Toronto. And Michael Louisi, the head of WWE Films, just fell in love with the project and thought that it was perfect for the fan base of WWE. And I think that was very shrewd, because the fan base of WWE is mainly kind of young, enthusiastic men with quite a lot of ladies as well, but people that like these kind of thriller, siege, horror movies. So the filming process was something that was done independently, but once WWE bought it, they really marketed it very well for an audience that is going to lap this up.
Dominic, thank you once again for speaking with me today. Is there anything you'd like to leave the readers of localbozo.com with about any upcoming projects?
Yeah, I just finished up creating this show called Wild Things, which is my attempt to have people think a little differently about animals that most humans are scared of: snakes and spiders and scorpions and bees and wasps and things like that. I go around the world trying to change people's minds, which I'm really excited about, and that's something that you can get a little bit more information about at my Twitter page, which is @DomsWildThings, and that'll come out in the early part of next year.
Awesome, man, and we'll be on the lookout for that project. The Day comes out on August 29th, and I expect all fans of horror, action, survival, end-of-the-world, drama movies, and everything else, because this movie fits so many categories, to go out and see it. Dominic Monaghan, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. It's nice to talk to you.